Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maura, in case you did not know, now you do. And today we're doing my June reading wrap up. I don't even know how many books I've read this month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the dot. I have a lot I want to say, some books to get through, and not a lot of storage on either my phone or the camera. So we gotta get through this quick. We're gonna jump right in. I started the month off with Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. I was really excited about this book. I don't even know when this came out. This came out in February, but I hadn't seen it anywhere until, when did I get this? I think I bought this and then read it like really shortly after. I got this in June, obviously, or late May. But this book is following this girl, Abby, who, her dad is like a famous somebody in the music industry. I think he's a singer, I think he's an artist, but she ends up doing study abroad in London and not telling or finding out on her own that her roommates are actually all guys, but she doesn't tell her dad this when she finds out because she knows that he's gonna be really upset and want her to come home. She ends up going and she lives with these guys, I think it's 3 of them, kind of gets herself into situations with them where she's catching feelings for one of them, she's getting really close with another one in like a friendly way, so she doesn't want to lie to either of them. But then here's where it gets crazy. This is where it gets crazy. She also has a love triangle, but with the other guy, he has a girlfriend. So this is my Goodreads review. I said the vision was there, I liked the idea of the book, and she's an auto-buy author for me. I love Elle Kennedy books. I wound up giving this 3 stars if I haven't said that. The one thing I can't get behind is, first of all, the love triangle, because one, I just don't like that in a book. I just don't like love triangles. I think they're weird. I don't think they work out well. I think it just creates unnecessary tension and then like bad problems. So I don't like them in books. One of the guys had a girlfriend, so that's not cool, but there were also just kind of strange side plots that I wasn't really fully into. I wound up giving this 3 stars. It had potential. I would recommend it still. She's an auto-buy author for me. I love Elle Kennedy books, but this one fell short. You know what, that's okay, because not all of them can be 5 stars. That's fine. The next book that I read was The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I had started the Natural series, and then I think I pulled this for a TBR video. I honestly have no idea. I had this book for a while, like almost 2 years, I think, and I have the second one. I gave this 3 stars also. I didn't leave a review on this, so I have no idea what I'm gonna say. But my thing about this book, I think it had really great potential. I'm hoping that the rest of the series takes it somewhere else, because this first book, I was just bored and I felt like I was skimming a lot of this. If you don't know anything about this book, it's this girl who, well, actually that's a spoiler, never mind. It's about this girl who is named Avery, and she ends up being in this old man who dies, his will, and she ends up inheriting his house, and he has kids and grandkids, and his family is like, why is this random girl getting this inheritance? Like, we have no idea who she is. They end up going through like these games and trying to solve these like clues and riddles and all of this to try to understand why she's here, why she's getting this house, why she's even involved in the inheritance, and all these other secrets that their grandfather was keeping. My thing is, I guessed everything. Like, I guessed everything, and when I tell you guys I'm the worst at guessing plots in books and guessing like spoilers and like guessing plot twists, like I'm not the person to be doing that. So the fact that I was able to do that is a little bit alarming. I was just skimming a lot of this. I do have the second book, so I'm going to read it, but I'm really hoping it picks up at some point and really like goes full speed, because as of right now, I'm not really too interested in the series. Sorry. Next up, I finally read Love Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood. This is one that I'd had for a long time. Also, I had this for at least 9 months. I wound up giving this one 4 stars, which was honestly a little bit better than I thought I was going to be rating this book. I think I read this for a reading vlog, perhaps. No, I didn't. I read a different book. I'll talk about it right now. This one 4 stars, I gave this one 3 stars. I talked about this in my video where I was reading popular book talk books from like back in 2020, 2021, that kind of era of book talk. And I really talked about these books in comparison with each other because I like Ellie Hazelwood's writing a lot, but my issue is with the STEM novels is that they're all super similar. They're just different areas of science. And I felt like that was really true with these ones. I haven't read Love on the Brain, and honestly, I'm not too interested in doing so, but I feel like I want to have the whole series, so I may as well get it. I feel like it's the same sort of situation where it's a guy who doubts the girl's skill or knowledge or professionalism or status. She ends up having to prove herself with like all these guys. Like, it's just a different like area of science. I feel like we're reading the same books just with different character names and different tiny little side plots and different science realms, but generally it's the same plot. I will say I liked the characters of this one a little bit more than I liked the Love Hypothesis, but generally I feel like they're all the same, and you know, let me know if other people feel the same way. But for me, it was a 4 star. It could have been a 5 if it didn't feel like a mirror to the Love Hypothesis. In that same video where I was reading popular book talk book, I also read Punk 57, and this is a 5-star from me. I love this book. I don't care what people have to say about it. This is one of my favorite books ever. I don't care. I love it. I love the plot. I love the storyline. I love the characters. I think it's interesting. It's different. And I love the aesthetic of this book also. I'm somebody who also thoroughly enjoys Penelope Douglas's books. So if you're somebody who does not, I would skip through this part of this video because I'm going to talk about this book and why I like it. And I don't want people to get mad at me for my own thoughts and opinions. But this book is following Misha and Ryan, and they end up being pen pals in 5th grade, not knowing that they are communicating to a boy and a girl when it's supposed to be girl, girl, boy, boy. And they end up becoming really close friends, communicating all through middle school and high school. And then Misha cuts contact because of something that happens in his family. Ryan's like, why is he not talking to me anymore? They end up meeting at a party, but only Misha knows that it's Ryan. She doesn't know that it's him. So all this stuff happens there. And then he ends up moving to her high school to basically get answers in his own life, and then realizes that Ryan is not the girl that she said that she was. So he's kind of trying to understand her more in like a real life setting and not just in the letters that they were sending to each other. But she's also going through things that he's trying to understand, and he's this really troubled kid with all of this stuff going on in his family. Finding out more about him through Ryan when she doesn't know that it's him, super interesting. She doesn't know that he's going by Mason to cover up that he's actually Misha. She doesn't even know what he looks like. I really like this book because of that plot. I feel like it's so interesting and a lot of people don't like it, but I don't care. I like it, and I had a lot of fun reading this again. I've read this like 3 times, I think, and every time I just have a great time. So I don't care what anybody says. I thoroughly enjoy that book, and if you don't, leave me alone. Next up, I read Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is one that I gave this a 4-star the first time I read this, and then I read it again. I gave it a 4-star for a second time. The reason why this is a 4-star and not a 5 is because of the reason that they split contact. I don't think is justifiable, and I don't think is forgivable either. But I will say a reason why this book is a 4-star is because of the writing, the development of this friendship. This is following Macy and Elliot, and they are childhood friends, and it's told in dual perspective, so it'll bounce back from when they were kids and they were best friends going through life together, and then in the future when they meet up again, they're trying to develop a relationship again after not communicating for 11 years. I will say usually no contact in these books and then picking it back up, going second chance isn't my type of thing either, because I just don't understand how you can end up forgiving somebody for something like this and then just like developing a relationship again, but also they're childhood friends, so they're kind of willing to do whatever it takes to save their relationship. But I will say, seeing the development of their characters as kids and just going through life in their first times with each other, and I'm talking like first times, like first period that she got, first kiss, like those first times where you're developing things in life and you just don't understand what's going on, and like these 2 kids trying to understand each other going through their own differences in life is super interesting and really sweet and bittersweet. I will say I just can't get behind why the disconnect happened, and I can't understand how that's forgivable. To each their own. Otherwise, this is still a great book. I still love it. I would still highly, highly recommend. This is definitely my favorite Christina Lauren book, and I feel like this is most people's favorite. So I would highly, highly recommend this if you haven't read it already. Next up, oh wait, I'm not wearing mascara. I love not wearing mascara, and you could just like get in there. Next up, I read The Spanish Love Deception. This is in that same video that I filmed with Punk 57, Love Hypothesis, Love in Other Words, and I think this was the last one that I filmed. I rated 3 stars. Also, this is following Erin and Catalina, and she needs a date for her sister's wedding, which is in Spain. Erin is this really charming guy. He's a really interesting, fun guy. I really like their dynamic because they're not enemies to lovers, but she's definitely like, I would rather take anybody to this wedding other than Erin. And he's like, why don't you just take me? Like, I don't understand. Like, make it easy for yourself. Just take me to this wedding. I don't care. If you want to use me for the wedding and then never talk to me again, that's totally fine. Just get it over with and let's just get it going, right? The reason I gave this a 3-star, even though I really do like the plot and I think it's a fun story, is because in hindsight, this book takes place in like a 2-week time frame. And by the end of it, they're like willing to change their lives for each other, and I feel like that's kind of obsessive and also slightly alarming, to have the course of your life altered in a 2-week time frame with meeting somebody and like developing a relationship. They had already known each other, but they didn't like know each other like that. You know what I mean? So I just feel like developing that relationship so fast and like wanting to change your life for this person in that time frame is crazy. Some people like that though. So you might like this book, but I will say for me, the plot wasn't enough for me to look past the fact that all this happened in like a 2-3 week time frame and then suddenly they were in love and wanting to be together forever type of deal. And if you know me in real life, no you don't, you're not allowed to say anything. So I read another Penelope Douglas book, and I read Corrupt. I honestly don't have many thoughts about this book. I gave it a 3 only because it's the first book in a series and I was a little lost at time. It was slightly all over the place only because it's the first book in a series and there's so much development that's taking place. I will say I did like the idea of this book a lot, and I'm excited to read the rest of the series. This is following Erica and Michael's a part of the 4 Horsemen, who are these guys that on Halloween Eve, the Devil's Night, they end up putting on masks and going and like pulling pranks in town. But their pranks are pretty extreme. I would definitely read trigger warnings because they're extreme pranks and kind of sick and twisted. But that's a plot point that's very evident in all of Penelope Douglas's books, is her characters are slightly twisted. I say slightly, I mean pretty twisted, but I love the darkness in her books, and I think that's why I really enjoy this one and why I even enjoyed What Was Seen in Punk 57. This is the first dark book, like really dark book, that I've fully gotten into in her world of books. But I'm excited to read the rest of this series. I feel like I'll eat it up, I'm really hoping. But there's a lot of plot to be built, so this was just a little messy, which is why it was a 3, but I think the rest of the series could be a little bit higher, if not maintaining a 3-star, which I'll chill with a 3-star. Like, I'll chill with it. You know, like, I'll keep reading. I read The American Roommate Experiment, I think is the second book to The Spanish Love Deception. Like, even though I gave the Spanish Love Deception a 3-star years ago and I didn't fully love it, I still read the second book. Like, a 3-star isn't enough for me to be like, I'm never gonna read another book by this author type of deal, you know? We have 2 more books left, and the second to last one is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. You guys know I'm fully obsessed with this book. I rave about it everywhere. I've told everybody to read it. All of my friends have read it because of me. I love this book so much. I don't need to go and tell you anything else about this book because everybody already knows what it's about if you haven't heard it from my channel directly, where I've raved about it on and on. This book, I am torn. I think I want to give it a 4.5. First time I read it, I gave it a 5-star without a doubt, but I think the second time I'm reading it, there's something slightly missing, and I think it happens in the epilogue where it's just kind of predictable and I would have liked to see something else. But otherwise, I still really love this plot. I love the book. I love the writing. I love Hannah Grace and the way she incorporates certain topics into her books, but keeps it so where it's not like draining to read. Like, you know how sometimes you read books with heavier topics and it feels like a burden on me afterwards. I'm like, ugh, like I'm like carrying this weight and it sucks sometimes. So I feel like she does a really good job of balancing like the seriousness in her books with things that are fun and lighthearted. So I really love this book. I love this series, and I cannot wait for the 3rd book to come out in October. And the last book that I read in the month of June was Archer's Voice by Mira Sheridan. I read this book years ago, gave it a 5-star, and this is another 5-star. I'm absolutely obsessed with the writing. I have so much in here that's tabbed up, whether it's things that I've related to or just quotes that I enjoy. I love the communication between the characters, which is such an important point, especially in this book, because he does not speak. He communicates with sign language. He's not deaf, but he does not talk to people. And so they communicate with sign language and body language, and I feel like it's done so beautifully in this book, and every time I've read it, I have not been able to put it down. I highly recommend this one to everybody. It's so good. This is the only Mira Sheridan book that I've really felt myself being really attached to. I would highly recommend. I think this is a great book, and I hope other people would enjoy it the same way that I do. But that's everything that I read in the month of June. All of my books sitting up there for you guys to look at even more. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys when I see you.